Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert. You've probably heard the term integrator if you work in small business. Well, today on the show, we have the absolute epitome of that term. I am so thrilled to share with you the journey of my friend, Becky Lewis. Becky, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Aaron. It's a delight to be here.
Well, you and I have known each other for a few years now, and you're part of Coalition 9, and this is a no-brainer for me to have you on the show. I think you bring so much to our community, and I've gotten to know so much from you, and I think this is just going to be such an awesome conversation. So before we dig into all this stuff, so people know how to address you, could you please share with me your pronouns?
Absolutely. She, her.
Awesome. I am, it shocks me how many people we have on this show that are from Iowa. It's, I mean, I tell you, like, it seems like every third episode, somebody was born and raised in Iowa, and it just says so much just about work ethic and, Midwest values and things like that. So where did you grow up in Iowa?
Well, I love the shout out to my roots in Iowa. I grew up in Cedar Falls. That is kind of in the north central part of the state. And both my parents were born and raised in extreme West Iowa in farming communities. And so I come from just a long line of very strong work ethic farmers, which then evolved into a few school teachers thrown in the mix. But ultimately, I've landed as an accountant by trade. So
there's so much so your parents weren't, just to be crystal clear here, your parents were not farmers, they were school teachers. Were your grandparents farmers?
Both were. So both my parents were raised on family farms and did their fair share of chores and caring for their siblings, both from large families. And really just took a lot of pride in their communities and supporting those around them. And I think there are themes in small business that I see that makes me feel like we're just in a small town here.
Yeah. In some respects, we all kind of are, right? I mean, I say that about the Twin Cities. It's small, but it's big, right? Like, it's a small world because you talk to somebody and you usually know somebody who knows somebody, but we have a pretty healthy population here, and there's a lot of big businesses. What are we at? Like 19 Fortune 500 companies and a ton of small businesses as well. 12,500 registered S corporations in the Twin Cities. So like, we are a big community here.
We are, but still love to align myself with good, strong Midwestern ethic folks. So that is one thing I think many of us have in common. And you're exactly right. My parents both broke the tradition in farming and both became school teachers. My mom taught in elementary schools, my dad in middle school as a math teacher, if you can believe that, for 37 long years.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think being raised by two teachers, I have to be honest, I don't think I realized until like first grade that not everybody had two parents that had 3 months off in the summer. Yeah. I thought we all just got like a 3-month summer vacation. And all of a sudden, like asking my friends, why are your parents going to work? It's June, it's July, it's August.
Right. I got to imagine in elementary school, did you have your mom as a teacher? And then when you got to middle school, was your dad a teacher, or did they keep that?
Yeah, it was a small enough community that, and geographically where we lived, we were within the district of the schools where my parents taught. So I did in fact I was in the buildings where they taught. I did not have my mom as a second grade teacher, but I did have my dad 2 years, 7th and 8th grade math. So I can tell you that was a very interesting time in growing up and adolescence, and all of the insecurities that you go through just in the middle school years. Having your dad as your math teacher, that was not real fun. You went into finance, so it's somewhat of a effect on you having. And here's where we can bring it all full circle and say, now I take no greater pride than to have those strong genetics and lessons learned. I would say that there are a lot of aspects in the client work that we do here at All-in-One County that are like teaching or educating our clients about their financial position and the numbers in their business. And so although I didn't land in a classroom, I still feel like I have sort of checked the box on that aspect of continuing the good work that my parents both started.
Yeah. Plus just in leadership too, you're always teaching, right? So there's an aspect of all of that. Your parents also broke the mold from a size of the family, because I think you came from a pretty small family, right? What was your family dynamic from a sibling standpoint?
So my older sister, Deb, she and I are the only two, and I'm very lucky because she lives in Maple Grove, so not geographically far from where we are located in Prior Lake. So I still get to celebrate holidays and things with her, and our kids have grown up together. She didn't quite follow suit. She doubled. I just have two children. She's got four. So she definitely is doing more than her share in that regard. But it's really neat to have grown up with her, not only as a sister, but now a very close friend and confidant.
Sweet. What was your jam in high school? What were you into? Were you big into academics? I got to believe that you were in all the smart kid classes, right? And then any sports or anything like that?
Okay, so you nailed it. Smart kid classes was certainly where I strived to be. Those were the types of people I wanted to really surround myself with. And so our district was large enough that there were, different levels of, math and science and other classes. And so I was certainly wanting to continue to stay challenged and grow. But earning good grades was a real motivator for me. There was something about the accountability aspect and, the validation that comes from that mark at the end of the term. And so I was a 4.0 student in high school, and I shared that the valedictorian spot with one other classmate of mine who achieved that as well. And it was really, I think, how I was able to identify and who I was at that point, just really having that as my strength. Sports got really competitive in high school for me. And although I did enjoy that all the way through middle school, once I got to high school, it just wasn't going to be my thing. My sister took more the athletic route. And so I think as the younger sibling, I'm like, well, if I'm not going to do that, what's my thing going to be? And I think it worked out okay.
Yeah,
so
I think it worked out just fine. Yeah.
I did get some B's in college, though. I need to just humbly admit that to you, Aaron.
Well, good. Well, I don't think I have any 9 questions asking you about college, so we can.
Thank God.
Where'd you go to your undergrad?
Undergrad for me was at the University of Northern Iowa. It was a whopping 7 miles from my home address where I grew up, so still in Cedar Falls. And there were really, at that time, there were 2 primary fields of study at UNI. Teaching, which was both my parents were graduates of UNI, and then accounting. It was also a school of, they referred to it as a CPA factory back in the day. Granted, there were lots of other majors offered, but those were kind of the 2 predominant ones. So I very confidently completed my application, noted elementary education as my major of choice, and registered for, some gen ed, a lot of gen ed actually, but a couple of those first introductory education classes, because I was going to be following in the footsteps of my mother.
Right.
And then I quickly realized, just really within the first few weeks, that the content, wasn't going to probably hold my engagement, and it didn't suit me the way I felt when I would go back and work in my mom's classroom with her after school, just to help grade papers or get an activity set up for the next day. What I learned was that I enjoyed that because I enjoyed that time with her. And it wasn't until I got further along and introduced to the academics that I realized that wasn't my calling. So those were still amazing experiences, and I'm so happy I have those memories. But definitely would not have been something that probably would have suited me long term.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you found out so fast, right? Like
Yeah.
that it just clicked for you, that you went in with a preconceived notion just because of what your
Mhm.
environment was, and then all of a sudden it just, nope, this isn't for me,
Well, they were not my people, I think is
right?
what I pretty quickly found out. And they were all good people,
Yeah,
but they were not my people. And
yeah.
so I needed to take a little journey to the academic advising office and get some advice, since I was going to be stepping outside the boundaries of farming and teaching, which were the two things that were known in my
Yeah,
small world.
yeah, for sure. I think, well, I mean, that had to be a that had to be a relatively bold decision. Did you make that decision independently and then go and talk to your academic advisor, or did you consult with your parents, or like, how did you manage that process? I had to
Oh,
imagine that was a big deal.
it was a big deal. So I was very, very fortunate that my high school best friend, her name is Carla, her dad was an accounting professor at UNI, and I had never known him other than Carla's dad, growing up through the years and hanging out at their place. And once I got on campus and was really starting like this next chapter of my life, I realized that that was another strong opportunity or offering that I had, just with my alignment with numbers and all things mathematics. Certainly there are themes that cross over in accounting and finance. And so Dr. Darrell Davis was very instrumental. That's Carla's dad.
Yeah.
And in terms of helping guide me to, really, it was just a simple encouragement of, well, you could take Principles of Accounting 1, that's the base entry, and you can always use that as an elective later on. It doesn't set you back any to give that a try here this next semester. And so I did. And that's where I found my people.
Yeah.
Things that just came very natural and were intuitive to me, were I'll say just a bit more challenging maybe for others. And that's just kind of how I started to just identify and really align with what was going to serve me well longer term, bigger picture for my career. So
You became a CPA, and you took your CPA exam. Did you? I have to imagine you nailed that thing on the first try.
well, I can tell you that there were multiple efforts.
There was.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes,
Oh, now we're starting
um,
to dig into it a little bit. I
yeah.
like it. I like it.
There were a total of 3 times that I sat for the CPA exam. I did better each time progressively, but it was the third time that I passed all the parts simultaneous. And structure was a little different back then as comparative to now. Today, you can take a little bit more of a targeted piecemeal approach,
Mm.
whereas back in my day, we sat for the whole thing, and it was a pretty involved effort. So extraordinary accomplishment, probably the single greatest accomplishment to date, that I
Yeah.
had achieved. And I think it gave a lot of confidence and just credibility getting started in my career to have that credential. I can tell you that I don't probably use that knowledge and information day to day, kind of like a lot of the stuff in the classroom.
Right.
And a number of professionals achieve success following different paths. But for me, it was more of a confidence builder than anything
Oh,
else, that like, hey, I was able to get that done.
oh, for sure.
It wasn't so much about, academic, what the learnings were in my world.
What? So for people like me that have no idea what it takes to become a CPA, I kind of assimilate it to probably like a legal bar exam, right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of that crazy level of equivalency. What makes it so hard?
Sheer volume of information.
Mm,
Uh, and I would say the, at age 21 and 22, when you're graduating from college, and just the emotional toll, I think that
mm.
it's daunting. Um, And I think that's why my reflection in this moment is it was more of a confidence builder for me that I could achieve that more so than any specific fact that I memorized or business law case that led to a certain tax code or, something
Right.
like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, so let's dig into the start of your career. Before we dig into
Sure.
that, I'm going to take a quick break here. We're going to listen to a few of our community supporters, All-in-One Accounting being one of them. And so I'll give you a shout out for that. And so let's just take a quick break here and hear from a few of them. If you're anything like me, you know enough to be dangerous when it comes to finance, yet need some help when things are complicated. All-in-One Accounting provides the right financial expertise and leadership to align with your stage of growth. From outsourced accounting and bookkeeping to strategic financial planning, the team of accounting rockstars at All-in-One Accounting are passionate about positively impacting the lives of their clients. Check them out at allinoneaccounting.com. All-in-One Accounting, taking our clients from financial chaos to business clarity and beyond. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at insperity.com. Insperity. HR that makes a difference. Listen, people, everyone needs a bank. Not just any bank, a good community bank. From personal needs like checking and savings accounts to business services like financing and M&A support, the team at Flagship Bank is there to provide you with the assistance you need so you can spend less time thinking about your finances and more time enjoying what your money can do for you. To learn more, head over to flagshipbanks.com. That's flagshipbanks with an S.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Flagship Bank, investing in you. Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to help guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit seilerlaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism. All right, we're back with Becky Lewis. I'm excited to dig into your journey here because I know you've been at All-in-One Accounting for a long time, but you've did a few things before you got there. So, what was your first, let's call it like quote unquote real? I'm using air quotes here. Real job after you passed your CPA and got into the real world?
Yeah, the start of my career was like many accountants, working in public accounting. And typically you think of audit or tax in those big firms. I worked first in Des Moines before I came up here to the Twin Cities, which has been home now for more decades than I can count, but it was a really good launching point just to give you a well-rounded experience and exposure to just a lot of different types of industries and clients. And just the rigors of the profession, to be very honest. And there are still a lot of aspects to client service that I have in my current role that I learned in some of those first roles I had that were in public accounting. So I think it did serve me well, even throughout the stages of my career. When I was ready to start a family and kind of settle in a bit more in terms of hours and my commitment outside of the workplace, Target Corporation was where I landed next. I was there for about 7 years. And there were a number of different opportunities that were available through different accounting supervisory roles, getting to know the fraud detection in the transactional work that we were doing there. Really interesting stuff, and even got to travel to some stores for the grand openings, which was, a whole lot of excitement around that. And as much as I appreciated being really tightly associated with that brand and the excitement of alignment with something that's really known pretty much by everyone is Target. And it wasn't going to probably serve the interest I had longer term, just wanting to work part-time while my kids were young was really important to me. And finding a role that would align with that interest was kind of the crossroad I was at when I chose to leave Target. And so since that time, all the positions I've had have been part-time in nature, working a reduced schedule, either 3 or 4 days a week or something like that, which I know is very common now. But rewinding the clock 20 years ago, it wasn't as common then. And it was important to me. It was something I valued. I wanted to be continuing to stay current with my skills in the profession, but making contributions just in a meaningful way and with a less scope of hours. And small business is actually what I found supported that best at that crossroad where I was. And so that was my entry point into the world of small business.
So when you made that that move from Des Moines to the Twin Cities, was it business that brought you here, or did you come because of an alternate factor?
Yeah, it was business that brought me here. I was going to work for what was Pricewaterhouse at the time, a Big Six firm. They have since done some mergers. So PricewaterhouseCoopers is where they stand today. And so I was just moving from more of a mid-market firm to a Big Four firm when I came up here.
And we've talked about this, like the thing I like to talk about in this podcast is one of the things is a paradigm shifting event. And your paradigm shifting event was when you were able to get out of corporate and know how well small business fit for you, not only because of your personal life, right? And the things that you wanted to do in raising your children and the balance that you wanted to create, but also just that level of intimacy that happens in small business of working with clients and those types of things. So tell me a little bit about that period in your life where it was just kind of like the switch flipped and you were like, aha, okay, this is for me.
Yeah, I can tell you that if that there was a stage where I worked in a small business where we had a team of consultants and I was kind of running the back office. And in that role, the team were like my clients effectively. So I think I've always had this spirit of, wanting to protect and care for the experience of others, whether that was through a client relationship or even how I'm working today with our team here at All in One, and keeping those relationships the most, highest regard, the most healthy, will yield all day long in terms of productivity and good results on the back end. And as I look back, I don't know that I really would have realized it at the time, but I can very clearly see it now. That's that intimacy that you just mentioned a moment ago, Erin, is the shift that I felt as I entered small business, and the ability to really foster those close-knit relationships with coworkers and leaders, and even extending outside the walls of the business with vendors and everyone that you have an opportunity to meet along the way, like you.
Yeah, right. I think it has it. I hear so many connections just in our conversation, and even the tone of your voice when you talk about how you interact with people. I think about like your parents being teachers and how big of an effect that actually had on you.
Yeah.
And that to me is fascinating, right? Like you do really embrace that teacher mindset that you were born with, but yet it's kind of that balance between nature versus nurture. That's the nature of you. And then the nurture side was being a part of that environment.
Yep.
And you just translated it to a different industry.
Apparently I did.
Yeah. Right. And isn't that the fun thing about this podcast? Like you being able, I don't know, I don't reflect on this kind of stuff hardly ever, but this gave you an opportunity, hopefully, to look back at some of that stuff. And it is fascinating, right?
That's awesome reflection.
Yeah.
Thank you for that gift.
Yeah. Well, we're here to amplify you. Okay. So you spent some time in a few different positions. And then let's let's fast forward to 11 and a half or 12 years ago or something like that.
Mhm.
How did you land at All-in-One Accounting?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think a stroke of fate. Let's be honest. There were some probably higher powers involved as well. But I met Heidi Olson through a shared client many years prior. I was the auditor and she was the outsourced controller for that small business that I was there to audit. And so we worked together. I don't want it, when the auditor came in, I'm not going to say it was a strained relationship because that would be an inaccurate reflection, but sometimes there can be some tension when auditors are coming in to check the work of the internal team. And I think what Heidi and I both found was that it was a very smooth process and that Heidi had things perfectly in order. She could answer all of our questions. She could provide the supporting documentation we needed. And the audit went very smoothly. And so at that time, I don't know that I ever realized it would go much further than that. But when I found myself in the job market, then several years later, Heidi's name, came up in a conversation and I thought, hey, there might be something to this. And it just started with a cup of coffee, as you can imagine, knowing Heidi well. And it was just an exploratory kind of conversation to see where it might lead us. There was no formal, position available or posting that was open. There weren't, client needs stacked up waiting for someone to come in and deliver. It was very undefined. And for me, that was a pretty incredible leap of faith to get over that hurdle of the lack of definition around what I was saying yes to. Not for most, but for me, it was.
Yeah.
And Heidi and I giggle about this every once in a while now. What she saw as just like an extraordinary opportunity, I saw as, like I said, a lack of definition, not real firm guardrails, not a lot of history to rely on, data. Nope, none of that.
Yeah.
But what I did see was a very spirited entrepreneur who had an incredible passion for the work that she was doing. And she just simply wanted to be able to do more of it. She wanted to find like-minded individuals that really craved to provide this level of support and education to entrepreneurs or other business leaders to help them understand their financial position. And it allowed our clients then to make better decisions, more confidence in them, and fewer surprises, along the way, which to me is a success. But it took me kind of clearing this hurdle of stepping into something that was very, in my view, undefined, and just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable for a bit. And that's what it was in the early stages of All-in-One Accounting. There was continuous growth. There was a steady stream of new clients and new team members. We've really enjoyed very nice double-digit growth year over year, all 11 years that I've been here. And just incredibly blessed. But that has allowed us to build out a lot more structure and process and definition.
Put you in your happy place.
So it puts me right in my happy place and makes me feel confident sharing this experience with others and growing our team, that they're going to be walking into something that is defined, that is structured, that will give them as much or as little support as they are looking for.
Do you remember what? So I talked about the integrator term. So really, at the end of the day, you're the COO, and so you're the one that makes things happen at the end of the day. And so that integrator visionary dynamic that they talk about in EOS, which you guys are a big supporter of EOS, is fascinating. And do you remember when you were able to look at Heidi as your partner in crime here and knew that you had such complementing skill sets and could really embrace that opposite mindset and know
Mhm.
that this is going to be kind of a rocket ship?
I didn't know that in the beginning.
Mm.
I did not. I certainly saw very admirable traits in her that I knew I didn't they weren't qualities that I had, but I didn't know I had something special.
Right. That's
And it took a number of years of the two of us working together. She had to let go of the vine and share not just clients with me, but also internally facing responsibilities. So pretty soon the whole team was reporting to me, and um, I was more so directing their workflow and running really the back office of all-in-one accounting. And it was through that migration of those responsibilities from her as the founder of the business to me that helped me realize that um, that that was the gift and the talent that I could bring. I think I spent the first several years just looking at all the things Heidi could do that I couldn't do.
mm,
Um, like selling new work and speaking and, really being the face of the business. Like I, I don't see myself in that regard. That's not how I provide the most value to all-in-one accounting.
yeah.
And um, so I think it was a progression over time, certainly. And then when we read the book Rocket Fuel,
Yeah.
that was like the really validating moment where it wasn't just an experience I was having and how I was feeling, but it was there, like written in a book that had been published and was out there, with copies sold. Like it was a real thing, what we
Yeah.
had, this rocket fuel.
It
And
it does a good job of explaining that dynamic. And if
yeah,
you're not sure what that dynamic is and you do read that, I'm sure that there was a light bulb that went off, is like, oh my
yes,
gosh, this is us. Like we've
absolutely.
got something here. That's a huge deal. And now, 11 and a half years later, so now you're a partner in the business.
Mhm,
So you've built that relationship with Heidi and that level of trust that needs to happen in business partnership, which
mhm.
is basically like business marriage. Right. And then another accolade of yours is you just recently were named one of the top women in finance by Finance and
Yes,
Commerce magazine. Like all this stuff is just like blossoming, not to mention the growth of all-in-one accounting. And I
yeah.
think that that's the key here, right? Is like that relationship just it does turn into rocket fuel. And I used the
Mhm.
term rocket ship before, but because I mean, when I met you guys, like I met Heidi and then I met you, and I think you had like 30 some people. Like
Yeah,
I think it was 38. And that was only a few years ago.
yep.
And you're how many you're at, like, is it
We're
92 or so,
just shy
right?
of 100 right now. Yeah.
That is
Yep.
that is right there is
Mhm.
there should be some kind of book written about this too, because it is truly that dynamic that you two have. And then
Yeah.
also being able, what you've also done, I think, really well, you both have, is being able to then empower other people in a team. So now you've got layers of leadership and leaders
Mhm.
teaching leaders. And that to me is where you're starting to feel that scale. And that's, I don't know, I think that's when it starts to get really fun.
It is getting really fun. I mean, it's been fun for the last decade, certainly, but as I look to the next decade, there is still incredible opportunity for us. And none of it would be possible without what you just mentioned in terms of um, allowing these other leaders that have been nurturing along in their experience to now step into their moment to shine and take on additional responsibility, really own certain aspects of the business. And it is, it's just, it's just incredible to have been on this journey and seen folks who started here literally as accountants, continue on their career growth to controller and then maybe leading a team of people into a director role, now a vice president role. I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty extraordinary. It's also given me some gray hair. But that sign of the times I will gladly take
Yeah.
because like what's happening in the lives of our team members here again is really my motivator creating an experience for them that will continue to keep them feeling supported but challenged and progressing along whatever their path is. And it's going to look different for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's when we know we're serving our team. And if we do that, everything else seems to work out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Two things before we get into 9 questions that I want to talk,
Ooh.
or I want you to talk about. One is in your words. The first one is in your words. Tell our listeners what all-in-one accounting does.
We provide fractional outsourced accounting solutions for small businesses and nonprofits. So we have a team of accountants, controllers, and CFOs who come in. Those 3 tiers of financial expertise are kind of like all the puzzle pieces you need, just on a sliver or a fractional basis to support any for-profit or nonprofit organization through different stages of growth until you need full-time accountants and maybe controller as permanent employees in your business. And so our typical client has not grown to that state yet where they need that full 40-hour-a-week accountant or controller yet as an employee.
If you think that you can't go out and sell, are you kidding me? Come on. You've got this nailed down. So I'll challenge you back on that. So very well done. Yep. And there's a pod. You guys have an ad. You're community supporters. So also that aligns really well with what I say in talking about you guys. So you nailed that. So don't underestimate your skills to go out and bring in new business. All right. The other thing too that I think is super important is your family. You alluded to the fact that you made some sacrifices from a professional standpoint just to make sure that your family flourished. And I know you take great pride in your family, and I think you're empty nesters now for the time being, because I think they always come back for a little bit. I know I did. So talk to me about your family, your current family dynamic.
Oh my gosh. So fun to share. My husband, Eric, and I have 2 children. Jack is 22 and he'll be graduating from the University of Minnesota in May with a degree in finance and also data analytics. So he was traveling abroad last year for school, and then he was actually home with us over the summer, which was really cool because he was doing his first internship. And that in fact resulted in a job offer for after graduation. So to say that Eric and I are really proud of Jack is an understatement. We also know he'll be off the payroll soon. So that's pretty exciting.
Yep. I love
that's
that
a hurdle we're anxious to clear. And then our daughter, Sophia, is a sophomore in college. She's at the University of Iowa. She has just in the last couple of months declared accounting as her major.
Man,
and so
this
if
is
you
a
think
family
not
full of,
bring me more joy than most anything else she's done in her life. But I have to play it really cool, Erin. I can't let her know that I'm excited that she declared that as her major. I talk about it very little and just keep it as under wraps as
Don't let her listen to this podcast then. Because
she is on LinkedIn, but I think she only has like 2 connections so far, and I'm one of them. So I don't think there's a huge risk.
Well, you guys are probably targeting her for an all-in-one accounting position after she gets done then too. So that keep your peepers open there down in Iowa, right?
Well, that's right.
Yep.
She and some of her classmates, I will tell you that when we get down there to see her, it's like, stop acting like you're interviewing my friends, Mom.
just checking out that, there's
checking out talent.
There's future people, 100%. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to also, when we wrap this thing up, then I'm going to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you and things like that. But for right now, we're going to take another quick break, hear from a few more of our community supporters like All-in-One Accounting that make Coalition and Community kind of churn. So let's take a quick break. If you're an entrepreneur or married to one, your journey is complex. You want financial advice that impacts your whole net worth, including your business, not just stock market investments. You also want a partner that quarterbacks the relationships between the CPA, estate planner, banker, and other trusted advisors. That's where the team at eWealth Partners comes in. We love helping you and your spouse design a financial plan that aligns and empowers you. a plan that addresses your concerns, priorities, and goals tailored to reach your long-term vision, a long-term vision that is worth the pursuit today. Visit ewealthpartners.com to learn how they can help couples like you. eWealth Partners, holistic financial planning for entrepreneurs. Investment advisor services offered through AdvisorNet Wealth Management. eWealth Partners and AdvisorNet Wealth Management are not affiliated.
If you're a business owner wanting to save money on your overall real estate costs, I want you to give Carlson Partners a call. The team will help minimize your risk exposure and help you leverage the market to see maximized benefits to your next lease, purchase, or disposition. They've advocated and negotiated for hundreds of companies and saved millions of dollars in real estate expenses. With over 75 years of experience representing business owners, let them help you save time and money on your next real estate negotiation. Visit carlsonpartnersllc.com to learn more. When you think of a typical CPA firm, you probably think of tax planning. Well, that just scratches the surface of what Boulay offers their clients. By providing smart, in-depth thinking from experts in accounting, audit, tax, and business consulting, they know what it takes to achieve financial success. Whether it's protecting your business, building your wealth, or securing your future, you can count on Boulay to go beyond addressing just financial matters and providing you with tailor-made, workable solutions. Learn about all they have to offer at BoulayGroup.com. Boulay, helping you get there. United Healthcare believes there's no limit to what care can do. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.3 million care professionals and 6,500 hospitals and care facilities, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting you to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. Go to uhc.com for healthcare plans, resources, and more information. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives.
All right, we're back with Becky. Becky, I gotta imagine this is the part that you're the most excited about or the most nervous about, because knowing you and how you like to plan, and you're a camel. And
I am a true.
Yeah, you are a camel.
camel.
You are a thoroughbred camel. Yeah, I think it's like a 11
Double
or 12.
digit.
Yes, you are. So can you confirm to me that you have no idea what I'm about to ask you with these 9 questions?
I have absolutely no idea, and I'm terrified.
All right, good.
These next 9 questions.
I took it easy on you because I knew you'd be
Okay.
out. So everyone needs to just calm down. All right, number one. Number one. What is one thing that instantly makes your day better?
A hug instantly makes my day better, and I've had to learn this because I'm not a hugger by nature. It's in fact some of what I've learned in the environment where I'm working today, that it's okay to hug in the workplace. It's okay to shed some tears and share the joys and the sorrows. But a hug always makes my day better. And I need to be open to that. That is one thing I've learned about myself, even just in the last couple of years.
Yeah, great answer.
Mhm.
Love that one.
Mhm.
This one is a funny one because you're a finance person. What do you enjoy spending money on?
Ooh, I enjoy spending money on things that I can't accomplish on my own. So whether it's personally or professionally. And then there's also a layer after things I can't accomplish on my own to just the things I don't want to do. So a little while ago, just decided I don't want to clean my house anymore. Love spending money on that. That has extraordinary value to me. But I still love getting groceries. And some people, Heidi even will challenge me. Why are you spending your time doing that? You should just order online. I'm like, nah, not going to spend money on that delivery fee. Not doing it. So it's really all about just what I value. And here in the workplace, we see that with partners that have helped consult us through different crossroads we've been at with different processes, different strategic vision, the list is endless. It wasn't something that we could, invest a lot in the early stages of the business, but we're really at that tipping point now where it's making a lot of sense for us to get help from others in the areas of the business where we know we can be stronger. So bringing in that expertise to get the value has been key. So I'll spend money all day long on that.
Yeah, good. I like the house cleaning thing. To me, that's my favorite part of about what you just said. All right. What is your fondest holiday memory that you do look back on and smile?
Oh my goodness. Fondest holiday memory? Well, this is a fun one to share. And it certainly holds a special place in my heart. So my husband is from Michigan. All of his family lives there. So he was kind of the one that migrated across the big lake over to Minnesota for his work and now residence. Anyway, so we travel to Michigan every year at Christmas, and we've been doing that since before we were married. And Eric's dad, somehow it came up in conversation one of the first years, if not the first year I was there, that I absolutely love peppermint ice cream, like that they put out only at the holiday time. And actually just scored some this past weekend at the grocery store. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Sweet.
So somehow it came up in conversation that this is something my dad, would always like pick up, just to engage the holiday spirit. And so it was a memory from my childhood. And there I was in Michigan, hundreds of miles from my family for my first Christmas with, this other family who would eventually become my in-laws. And he went out like on Christmas Eve to every grocery store that was open until he could secure a half gallon of peppermint ice cream for me.
Oh.
And I think at that point I knew that if that's the kind of man my soon-to-be husband was going to be, following, that
Yep.
I had a good one there.
Find yourself a guy who will go find you your favorite ice cream.
My favorite ice cream on
that's a good-
Christmas Eve when the stores are closing.
That's a good life. I think that's just good advice to anybody
Yeah.
that's looking for a significant other. So find
Yeah.
yourself someone that will go to the ends of the earth to go find yourself a half gallon
Mhm.
ice cream. I think I know the answer to this question because I didn't know. All right, you'll see where I'm going with this. Would you rather have a cook or a cleaning person? Gosh. You
All of
stepped
the
on my
above?
you
Is that a
stepped on my
choice?
you stepped on my touchdown call on that one. So all right, so cook or a cleaning person. Now knowing that you have a cleaning person, would you
Mhm.
trade your cleaning person in for a cook, or do you actually like cooking?
I don't love to cook, but I do enjoy it. So it would take a lot for me to give that up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Good. All right.
Cleaning the house, nope, didn't take much.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. I don't even know if I like that question anymore. What is one guilty pleasure that you indulge in besides peppermint ice cream?
Besides peppermint ice cream, well, is it okay to say vodka?
Hell yes.
You're welcome
Yes.
to edit that out if it's not
No,
appropriate.
are you kidding me? Well, I didn't know if you're a big swearer or anything like that. I swear all the time on here, but yeah, I had a martini on Saturday. So a dirty
Yeah.
martini with blue cheese olive is like one of my
All right.
go-tos. So
Mine was a Cosmo, just kind of channeling the holiday vibe. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't even know if I would even say that it's a guilty pleasure, but it is a pleasure to, just relax and it helps me get to a place where I can, engage and really enjoy my time with whoever I'm sharing that meal or that cocktail with. I still have some of those introverted tendencies, and so I think I enjoy those experiences so much more when there's a little bit of spirit and cheer.
I love it. Good answer. Very well done. If I were to ask your best friend what you are known for, what would that person say?
Oh, wow. Probably that I'm consistent. So like fairness is a really big deal to me. And change is also very hard. And so I think that, I don't know if this is not at all glamorous or appealing, but I think what this team here at All-in-One Accounting counts on me for is that I'm going to show up, that the experience will be fair, that like I want to know where their head is at, where their hearts are, and we'll find our way through. So it's if every member of this team believes that, and then I'll have done my work here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well said.
Yeah.
Would you rather hear the good news first or the bad news first?
Oh, I pretty much always want to hear the bad news first because it's usually not that bad.
Yeah.
It's usually,
Get it out of the way.
you kind of just get it out of the way. And then my favorite part is when you get to start planning the action or the, integration of the plan as the integrator. Like you get to start taking the steps that are going to get you from whatever that bad news was that was just delivered to the better place. And I think that's why I'd rather just hear that first and start the productive conversation to get us to whatever our next stage is going to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
Where do you go for inspiration?
Where do I go for inspiration? It's really all around me. There are, my biggest challenge, Aaron, is just slowing down to see it. And so I can't say that there's a particular physical place that I need to go or a site that I need to visit or a book that I need to read. I just need to have my eyes, ears, and heart open to it because I do tend to get very caught up in the day-to-day and the to-do list. And I get a lot of warm fuzzies just checking things off my to-do list. Nothing brings me more joy or sense of accomplishment, but it does me a disservice because then I miss those opportunities that you described just to see in very small moments in the least place that you would expect it, something absolutely beautiful happening.
Yeah. Last one, you made it. This is, I feel
Is this 9?
This is number 9. So, and I feel like this is kind of going to encapsulate you pretty good. What motivates you?
I don't know if I have a one-word answer to this. But I'm very, it's definitely all about the team here at All-in-One Accounting for me from a professional standpoint. Knowing that we are providing a fair and consistent but well-structured, experience for them, helping them along on their journey, whatever that looks like for them. There is no greater gift than to have a happy and engaged team member who is evangelizing the good news of All-in-One Accounting and, telling their friends and connections like, hey, you should really consider coming to work here for us. That's when I know that I'm doing what I need to be doing. And so that's very, very motivating for me, just to have team members that are having the right experience, however that definition presents for them.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. You guys have a hell of a team there. I mean, I know you guys so well and have gotten to know you guys so well. And I just, you've built such a great team. More people need to know you. A lot of people know Heidi. That's all good, but more people need to know you too, Becky. So I want you to share, how do people get a hold of you? Where's the best place to find you? All of that goodness.
All right. Well, I imagine I'll be tagged in this post on LinkedIn. So I would love a LinkedIn connection from any of the listeners, certainly. At our website, you will also find contact information for every member of our team. And you can also just call the office and ask for Becky. Pretty much always around.
Yeah. Yep. LinkedIn is your place. Yep. LinkedIn is your place. So we'll put in the show notes, both on our YouTube channel and on your podcast of choice. We'll make sure that we have links to all of these different things. You survived 9 questions. You did such a great job on this podcast. I know you were nervous, but you didn't show it at all. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll tell you something too. It's been so great getting to know you over the past few years. You do bring so much value to not only All-in-One Accounting, but also I know your C9 group loves you. And you were we talked about this the other day when I popped in. You're the one integrator. So you're like, I am the one integrator
with 8 other visionaries.
Yeah. Well,
and there's a lot to wrangle sometimes.
Oh yeah. But and it means so much to me too personally that you're a part of our community and we're a better community because of you in it.
Well, thank you. The feeling is more than mutual. And an absolute delight to join you today, but more importantly, just the invitation to join the community has meant so much. So thank you very much, Karen.
I love it. All right. On behalf of Becky Lewis, this has been the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.